Page 25, Lavender's Blue. On page 24, they're introducing the 4 chord. I think I spoke earlier briefly that every key signature has 3 primary chords, or everyone has primary chords. I don't know if I said how many or whatever. I can say it now though. Every key signature, you haven't had key signatures yet? Well, you will. Every scale, every set of sharps and flats, right? They all have 3 primary chords. It's a 1 chord and the 5/7 chords that you've already had, plus the 4 chords. So now we're getting the 3rd primary chord. These chords are so important to know, all right? So learn them. With the 4 chord, you just simply, the easiest way and typically how it's played, you start with a 1 chord, you take the middle note and you move it up 1, and the top note and move it up 1. You're only using white notes here, okay? That's a 4 chord, okay? It's not in the 5-finger position anymore. You gotta go up with the thumb. It's like the 5/7, you went down with a little finger, okay? So normally, well, they have it here, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1. Typically, it's the second one, 1, 4, 1, 5/7, 1, or 1, 4, 5/7, 1, 1, 4, 5/7, 1. Both hands, all right? Now, in the right hand, I don't want to get into the fingering on the right hand until they tell you what, but generally you can do it 3/5 or 4/5. We'll get into that later. That's I shouldn't say anything yet. Just know that you can play it in either hand. It's important. Just memorize it. What those chords are. And we're in the key of C major, in case you're wondering, okay? It's okay to go to my scale videos and do the scale for C major for beginner stuff. All right, just as well learn it now. We're in the key of C major. So in Lavender's Blue, look at the next to the last measure on the first line. It's the 3rd measure. You have a C and an A. So now you got to reach up with the little finger and get the A. You're not changing hand position. Remember what I said, the right hand plays a 4 chord? It's basically what we're doing, except we're just not using the F. Okay? You get it again on the 3rd line. The phrases, we're back to phrasing every line again, so connect everything within a phrase, but give a little bit of silence in the right hand between the phrases. You can do it in the left hand too if it makes it easier. You can play them, lift both hands at the same time at the end of the phrase if that makes it easier. It's not always going to work that way, but this piece and the pieces we played, it seems to work okay. So at the end of the first line in the last measure, we're playing that, and then after 3 counts we'll have a little bit of silence, or actually it's not after 3 counts, because you got to cut it short just a little bit, because you don't delay the next note. It's got to be on the beat. So you have to cut this short, it's just a hair short of 3 counts. 1, 2, 3. So we get a silence before you go on, is what I'm trying to say. Not very well, but I'm trying to say. Look at the letters above the staff. You have a C at the first. That's because the first 2 measures are C, because it applies all until, okay? But when you get to the 3rd measure, there's an F. That 4 chord is an F chord. Okay, it is an F chord. I haven't had F chords yet. I'm just telling you, it's an F chord. The only thing is the C is on the bottom. It doesn't change what the chord is. We just inverted it. We just rearranged the notes. As long as I play those 3 notes, or you know, F, A, C, in some order, it's an F chord. And so that's what that F is for. So if a guitar player, they would just play an F chord and keep going. They could play along with you. The G7 is a 5/7 chord. Have they introduced all that? Sort of. They should have. They got Roman numerals for it. So you got a 1, 4, 5, 7 chord, which is a C, an F, and a G7 chord. Yeah, okay. 2 minor little details, something that may get you or confuse you. For instance, look at the last 2 measures of the first line. On the right hand, you have those 3 A's. Okay? You got that curved line. That's not a tie. That curved line is a slur. Those A's are not tied. If they wanted to tie them together, they would have had to put another curved line in, and a tie can only be between two notes anyway. Okay, so when you see a curved line with multiple notes, it is not a tie. It's just automatic. You got to play all of those notes. And the other thing is, I don't recall if I've explained it yet. When we play these together and we get to the end, I always say off. And that gets back to, it's important to hold a note out to its full value as much as you can. Well, a note's value, a beat, lasts a certain length of time, and it goes until the next beat starts. So beat 1 lasts until beat 2 starts, and that lasts until beat 3 starts. That lasts until beat 1 of the next measure starts. Well, at the end, there is no next measure. There's an imaginary beat that isn't there. So I use off rather than a 1 because there's nothing to count. I just say off. So it's giving that last note a full 3 in this case. Dotted half note gets 3 counts in 3/4 time. I want to give it 3 full counts. So third beat lasts all the way until the next imaginary beat start that isn't there. And I say off at that time. So it's 1, 2, 3, off. People will cut it short thinking they've played it. 1, 2, 3, and they think they're done. Well, they only held it down for 2 counts. And that's not right. They've got to hold it down for 3 counts. 1, 2, 3, off. That's 3 counts. I'll give you 3 counts. Let's try this out. If you haven't figured out yet, your hands are in C position for the most part. 1, ready, go.